Always a pleasure to catch up with one of the best in the game and a two-time Kentucky Derby winning rider. That's Johnny Velasquez. Johnny, authentic is your opportunity this year to pick up a third win in the Run for the Roses. You've never ridden him, so how do you prepare for a horse that you've never ridden in arguably the biggest stage in racing?
I don't know if you know that I never rode Animal Kingdom before I won the Kentucky Derby. It's about watching their races, watching how the horses perform and what the competition is. So it's basically a lot of homework and see the competition where you are. I watch the works how they're doing and follow up a little bit of instructions when you talk to the trainer. Obviously, we'll talk to Bob and see what he wants to do in the race. We'll see what the competition look like. We'll see how much speed in the race will be. And we go through all those processes, and make a decision once the doors opens.
You've had a chance to compete against Tiz the Law. He's going to be the one to beat in this race. I think that's pretty safe to say. What is it going to take to put Tiz the Law and Manny Franco in an uncomfortable position and spring an upset with a grade one winner that you're riding in Authentic?
Well, obviously the two opposites, they're not opposites, but two different ways of riding the horses too. My horse seems like it's going to be forwardly placed, although I think Tiz the Law can do the same thing, but they're normally taken off the pace a little bit, and also going to depend on how much speed we're going to have in the race, and we go from there. I mean, obviously it's going to be a full field. Depends how you break from the gate, what kind of position you get from there, and how uncomfortable can somebody else can put it. Because I assume my horse is going to be close to the lead, and see how somebody else is going to put in an uncomfortable position that they see how the horse is going to react. Although he's been, looked like he's done everything really good inside and outside, which seems like he's a much better horse coming from the outside.
It's been 9 years, can you believe it, since Animal Kingdom and your first win in the Kentucky Derby. How much did winning the Derby and then winning another Derby for Todd Pletcher with Always Dreaming change your life?
Well, it didn't change my life very much, but although it puts me on the record, having so much success through my career and not winning the Kentucky Derby, it was definitely missing though. And it's one thing that being a jockey or a trainer or an owner, it gets into you that, the Kentucky Derby is one of the most famous races in the world. And not winning it, it's definitely a big miss, if you will, in your record. Actually winning it, riding it for so many years, it takes a little bit of that heavy pressure, if you will, going into Kentucky Derby. But definitely, I mean, it's one of the races that everybody talk about it. Anywhere in the world where you go, and they found out you're a jockey, it's like the first question is how you been in the Derby, and the next question, oh wait, how you won it? So it's kind of cool now that I can say I won it twice.
Well, hopefully after the first Saturday in September, you can say that you won it 3 times after crossing the wire under the Twin Spires with Authentic. Johnny, always great to catch up, and best of luck to you and Spendthrift Farm and MyRacehorse stable as you look to secure another Run for the Roses for yourself.
Thank you very much.
Okay, and then now we'll just do these couple of questions for TVG that they're going to pull these sound bites for.
Okay.
If you don't mind, I'm going to try to phrase the question, so I'm trying to get you to say a certain thing, but if you don't mind sort of repeating my question so
Okay.
they have that set up, because they're not going to use my voice in this.
Okay.
We've seen this horse be a little bit quirky at times away from the gate when he ducked out in the grade 3 sham and still was 7 3/4 lengths clear. How do you prepare for something like that?
How do I prepare for a horse that looks like it's quirky and do things that he's been doing in the past? Obviously coming out of the gate or even ducking down the lane. I just think I have to have the company. Here's where I think it was like, if I have the company next to him the whole time, which I believe I will have a company next to me the whole time. I think he's better when somebody is right next to it. He start doing things, or when start getting away from the horses, like he doesn't feel somebody next to him. I think he start doing different things. So Kentucky Derby, there's going to be pace. There's going to be many horses. There's always going to be somebody next to you. I think if we can save it all the way down the lane and save him for the last part of the race, and hopefully when I do ask him to do something, he'll respond, and he doesn't have to win by 2 or 3 lengths though. Even if he wins by a head, I'll take it.
You've been in this position before. Mike Smith has been in this position before. I can't say that Drayden Van Dyke has been quite in this position before as often as you and Mike Smith, 2 Hall of Famers. But how do you prepare? Do you lean on one another? Is there a genuinely sort of thing in the jocks room or in the days leading up to where you discuss? And maybe it's gone both ways. Maybe you've done the same thing for Mike. How does that work between you and somebody like Mike Smith, given that you've never ridden him and now you're taking over a mount that Mike's riding and riding in a race in which Mike has a live mount as well?
Yeah, how it works with Mike and I, who has ridden the horse before, we always ask, you know, to tell you the truth, well, we do always ask, what did they think of the horse? Where's the quirkiness, if you will, you know, that how can we manage that better? So we always talk back and forth, no matter what, you know. Obviously, we do watch the replays and see what the horse react, and it's about you now. You're on top of the horse. What is your job to keep the horse by doing the things that it's trying to do, and then you're just trying to get along with the horse, really, you know. And like I was saying before, by talking to Mike or the riders who have ridden before, and by me watching the races that he has run in the past, obviously talking to Bob, getting all the info from the inside, and trying to get everything together in the same, and that for that day, obviously, and probably the biggest day of racing in Kentucky Derby. So hopefully everything comes together, and then the horse puts his best effort, and hopefully we come the winner.
Have you had a chance to talk to Bob Baffert about this horse yet?
I talked to him a little bit a month ago, you know. Very recently, he just sent me the last work that he just did. So I watched the work, and he looked really well. I'm ready. I told him he's ready, and I'm ready.
How many? I know that Animal Kingdom was the first time when you rode him in the Derby, was the first time that you rode him in the Derby, and obviously that worked out well. Can you think off the top of your head, in all the Derbies that you've ridden, how many times you've been in the position that you'll be in again with Authentic, where you're riding a horse for the first time in the Kentucky Derby?
In the Kentucky Derby? Well, actually, my first Derby that I went, I know for sure I'd never seen the horse before. Not that we do any good, but it was a long shot. And the owner called me and asked me if I wanted to go to the Kentucky Derby. I was like, sure, you know. It was a great experience to have, and I just married Leona, so it was an experience to have and to learn what it's like to be in the Kentucky Derby. Even I know he was a long shot, but just to be part of it, be there and watch everybody, how they're preparing, and how the nerves and everything it takes, you know, from everybody who's actually riding on the Kentucky Derby, being there and seeing everybody how it's a tough race to ride. So it's definitely one of the great experiences that you must have before you get there. That's what I believe, though, you know. So obviously there's a couple of the horses that I don't remember right now, but for sure I know Animal Kingdom and my first Derby that I went in 1995, 96, whatever it was.
Is it, we talk about preparation, right? We're always talking about preparation in sports, and, you know, whether you're handicapping or obviously you're riding a race like the Kentucky Derby. How hard is it to prepare for a race like the Derby, given you've got 20 horses? It's a mad scramble to the first turn. There's always bumping going on. There's always somebody who's going to have a massive excuse, whether it's on the first turn or, I mean, obviously last year is a prime example of it when you go to the quarter pole with Maximum Security. How hard is it to prepare for all the obstacles that are thrown at you over the course of those 2 minutes?
It is really hard to prepare for the Derby. Remember, you're running against 19 other horses, though, you know, and even that you do memorize every horse, every jockey, and you try to have a plan A, plan B, plan C, though, you know. But once the doors open, you know, you have to be prepared as quick as possible, because you have to break to get a position. You want to be in a place that you want to be comfortable with, not so much bumping and so on. So, you know, and I think that's what happened, because so many of the guys, so many of the jockeys had the same idea that, okay, I'm going to try to come out of that running and try to get a position where I'm not in so much trouble. And what happens is that we get in a lot of trouble. We get a lot of bumping around. But, you know, like I said before, it's about the gate. Once the gate's open, and if your horse reacts quickly, that you can react with the horse and put it to the place or the space that you like to do, and it works out. But, you know, there's some times that so much homework, and all of a sudden the gate gets open and nothing works. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like nothing works. It's just you all over. Everybody's on top of you, and all of a sudden you have to change plan A, plan B to plan C, basically. You know, so you have to go with the flow, basically how it goes, and hopefully your horse can help you to be in the some sort of place by the backstretch that is going to benefit you and the race, and hopefully by the quarter pole the horse react well and has something left to to run well in the race or to win it.
Your 2 Derby wins, obviously, they can never take away from you. Regardless, you're a Kentucky Derby winner. You're going to take that with you through the history books of humanity. But is there one Derby that you wish you could have back, that if one thing would have went differently, you would have been able to pull off a victory?
That's a tough one. I just don't think that any of the derbies that I rode prior to those 2 winners, I mean, they were big so well that I couldn't change anything that I did, because if I was beat ahead or half a length or something like that, I would say, I mean, I would like this derby to do all over. But the derbies that I did ride and got beat really easy, nothing that I could change. All the things that I could change, so hopefully the horse will react different or run better. But I did rode some horses that I thought had a really good chance, and then didn't run any good. They didn't show up in the day of the race. So those are derbies that you wish you had back, horses that you thought they had a really good chance, and they didn't show up in the day of the derby. So, but things that I did that horse that was second or third, I think they run the best race they could possibly be in the derby. So no, I don't have any of those that I thought I did a really bad job, or whatever happens in the race. But yes, I do think about the horses that I did love going to the derby, didn't show up in the day.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think that happens in this race more than any, where you've got these?
No, it could be the crowd. It could be the whole pressure up to it. It could be the training leading into the derby, and then all of a sudden you put them in the gate and they don't react at all. They just don't put up any effort whatsoever. So it's a mystery of horse racing, basically. Because you go there, and sometimes they work really well right before the derby and working on Churchill Down, and all of a sudden you put them in the gate and they don't do any good. They just don't react. They'll probably get overworked up before the race, and they run the race before even they run the race. Meaning, with the crowd, the post parade, they'll walk in, all the way from, the backstretch to, so by the time they get to the paddock, sometimes they're already, washed out, or mentally they're not there for you. So there's many things that happen. Everything has to be right for you that day, for the horse to be right, and having a good position in the race, and everything has to fall in I don't know, and on time, if you will. I don't know how you call it, but
yeah,
everything has to fall in place, basically. Yes.
Yeah, there can't be one hiccup. It's just got to all fall into place. The dominoes just have to fall in the right order to where you're the last domino, I guess, at the end of it that's right at the wire. Johnny, I could sit and talk to you for 2 hours about this, and great stuff, and I appreciate it. And thanks for the help, and see you soon, hopefully out maybe in October at Keeneland.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
All right, appreciate it.